On the edge of a forgotten forest, in a dilapidated house lived an old grandfather. Loneliness and longing for his long-gone youth had turned him into a withdrawn old man whose only amusement was peeping at passers-by through mysterious, ancient binoculars. It was said that the grandfather was obsessed with a strange desire to learn other people's secrets by furtively observing their lives. Over time, the villagers began to notice that those whom the old man watched were becoming restless, their lives filled with strangeness and hardship. Whispers of wind brought rumors of a curse the grandfather could bring with his mysterious eyes. One day, a family new to the village decided to solve the old man's mystery. Their daughter, an inquisitive young girl named Eerie, took it upon herself to find out what the grandfather and his binoculars were hiding. Covering the night gloom, she crept up to his hut and peered through the window. In a room lit only by the dim light of a kerosene lamp, the old man sat in front of a huge pair of binoculars staring into the void. Suddenly the grandfather turned and their gazes met. In that instant, Eerie felt a cold dread. Her vision darkened, and when she came to, she found herself at home with no memory of how she had come back. The next morning she found that she could not remember any of yesterday's events and that she still had the ancient binoculars in her hand. Since then, Eerie began to notice that the world around her had changed. The people she observed through the binoculars were behaving strangely, as if something or someone was controlling their actions. She tried to get rid of the cursed object, but it always came back to her, lying on the windowsill of her room in the morning. In time, Eerie realized that the old man had passed his curse on to her, and now she was bound to the binoculars just as he had once been. Every time she looked through it, she saw not only the lives of others, but also the dark shadows watching them, waiting for her to pick up the binoculars again. The old man disappeared, and no one else in the village saw him. Eerie became the new keeper of secrets, imprisoned in her home, afraid and eager at the same time to see what the next look through the binoculars would bring. She knew that each time she looked back through its lenses, she was not just observing, but interfering with destinies, weaving them into the fabric of her own curse. The nights were filled with whispers emanating from the binoculars themselves, as if they were a living thing that had distorted its intent to serve as a mere instrument of sight. Eerie felt with each new look, something was taken from those she looked at and deposited in her soul, making her a part of these alien, fragmented lives. The darkness inside the mansion became her world, a world she herself was creating and destroying with each new look through the cursed binoculars. It seemed to her that the old man had not left, but remained in this world, becoming her eternal companion, an invisible observer of her loneliness. As time passed, Eerie stopped being afraid of the shadows that followed everyone she watched. She began to understand them. These shadows were nothing but a reflection of her own fear, which she projected into the world through the glass of her binoculars. Fear and loneliness intertwined, feeding the curse that was now her only companion in life. She could no longer distinguish between real memories and those that came to her mind while looking through the lenses of the binoculars. Her life became just a series of observations and other people's stories that she wrote in a new diary, filling the pages with stories that no one was supposed to read. Eerie's story became the new legend of the village, a warning that some things, like some attitudes, must remain a secret, enclosed within the walls of an old house hidden among forgotten trees on the edge of the forest, where only the wind and whispers of the past now hover,